Hi YouTube, welcome to another edition of Horror Hands, and for this video I'm going to be talking about the top 5 best standalone slasher movies. Now this is something that I saw discussed on Jason from Horrific Nightmares and Joe the Horror Man's channel, so shout out to you guys, and hopefully you don't mind me contributing to this one because I thought it was an interesting topic, so I thought I'd throw in my top 5. So slasher movies that never got a sequel, and in this case a remake or anything like that. I'll go through my my favourite 5 of these and let you know what I think. So top 5 best standalone slasher movies, let's get straight to it. In at number 5 is a slasher movie that I never hear anyone talk about, and I feel it deserves a bit more plaudits than what it gets, which is zero. And that is a movie called Spliced from 2002. Now in this movie, all the cool kids are rushing to the cinema to see this hot new horror film called The Wisher, which is also an alternative title for this movie, I believe. So if you're struggling to find it, check out The Wisher as well as Spliced. And once they've watched this movie, they go about their business, and in their teenage angst, they're often throwing out these flippant wishes to change their crappy lives or get out of a situation that they don't want to be in. But once they do that after watching the movie, they get killed off by this wisher character that was the antagonist of the movie within the movie. So a really kind of interesting concept. And this one, I like the creativity behind it. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a rejected Nightmare on Elm Street sequel, to be honest with you. It's got that kind of feel. It's almost like Nightmare on Elm Street meets The Ring, in which they watch this movie and then it carries this terrible, deadly curse. There's not all that much in the way of kind of gruesome deaths and blood and things like that. Some of the deaths are a little overwhelming, but as I say, it's just kind of the ingenuity behind this one. And the Wisher character itself, it's sort of this kind of ghoulish slasher kind of character. They're pretty good as well. So yeah, I just think this one's a little bit underrated, and I can never understand why this one didn't get a bit more traction than what it did. It also, as I say, it's from 2002, so has that real early 2000s vibe, which I never appreciated in the day, but I do really like that that look of a film nowadays. So yeah, this is certainly not the best slasher film you're ever going to see, but like I say, I like the creativity behind this one. I like the idea of a movie cursing people and this character coming after them, and it really goes under the radar, so I thought I'd give it a mention. So in at number 5 we have Spliced. In at number 4 we have Blood Rage from 1987, a Thanksgiving set slasher movie. This one follows these 2 brothers, identical twins, and when they're just young kids, one of them really gruesomely kills someone and gets sent to a mental asylum for about 15-20 years. But after that time's passed, he gets released. The other brother's really concerned about this, and what do you know, the killings start again. And I'll leave it there. What I really like about Blood Rage is the story in this one with the 2 identical twin brothers and the way that weaves itself throughout the premise. It's not just a killer on the loose going after people and throwing a bunch of slasher tropes. There is this interesting family element that works well within the film. It could have been kind of overly complicated or just really kind of messed up the proceedings, but they handle it well, it's balanced really well, and it's really kind of keeps you watching this one just to see how these brothers are eventually going to come together. They're played by the same guy, so great performance by him, and you've got a load of great kills and blood in this one, which is a must when it comes to certainly 80s slasher films, I feel. And this one really does have everything that you want in a slasher film, and at the same time I don't want to say too much about it because yeah, there is a pretty strong storyline at the root of Blood Rage, which makes it definitely worth watching. But believe me, if you like slasher movies and 80s slasher movies, you will absolutely want to check this one out. And for this movie, it would of course be remiss of me not to mention that it's not cranberry sauce. So in at number 4 we have Blood Rage. In at number 3 we have Body Count from 1986. So Ruggero Deodato, the director of Cannibal Holocaust, tries his hand here at an American-style slasher film and does a really good job. In this one, we see these bunch of kids arrive at a summer camp, but this one is like haunted by like this ancient Indian chief, who of course goes around killing people one by one. And this is such an excellent slasher movie. It's got some great kills in it. It's got a fair bit of blood and things like that. And I love the angle in this one of the Indian chief shaman guy. I thought it was really great. A bit of a novel inclusion into the slasher genre. One of the things I also really love about Body Count is just the look of the film. It takes place in this kind of wooded, rural summer camp location and looks absolutely fantastic. I have it on a bootleg Blu-ray and it looks great, so I think if ever this came out in an official release, it would look fantastic. I'm very surprised nobody has picked up Body Count. It's such a great example of an 80s slasher film, and considering how popular that subgenre is in horror, this one is really calling out for a boutique release, but sadly we've never got it as of yet. But if you can get your hands on Body Count, and again, if you enjoy 80s slasher films, I highly doubt that one will be all that disappointing. It's a really cool slasher film. So in at number 3, we have Body Count. In at number 2, we have The Prowler from 1981. One of the best slasher movies ever made, whether it's standalone or not. This is just an excellent horror film and an example of one of the best in that slasher subgenre. This one starts in the 1940s where a war hero soldier returns to a graduation dance only to find out that his girlfriend has gone off with someone else, and in his rage goes on a killing spree. And then fast forward to sort of 30 years or so later, and on the eve of another high school graduation dance, a pitchfork killer dressed like a soldier starts going around killing people. So has the killer returned, or is something else going on? But The Prowler is just textbook slasher movie. All the tropes that we love are there. It's set up really well. It's got a good story, good twist at the end. But really, The Prowler for me is a must-watch for some of the best Tom Savini gore effects you'll ever see. Particularly the deaths involving the pitchfork. Some of them are just frighteningly realistic. He really is at the top of his game in this one, and it just makes this an even better slasher film than what it already is, with some of the best deaths in any of this kind of horror movie. So in at number 2, we have The Prowler. And in at number 1, the best standalone slasher movie, of course, has to be The Burning from 1981. A movie that I am always surprised never got a sequel. I don't know how that happened, but it stands alone. I'm kind of glad it does now. It kind of just stands there all triumphantly as its own movie. Heavily inspired by Friday the 13th, but easily as good as that first movie, in my opinion. The tale of Cropsey, the summer camp caretaker who gets set on fire with a prank gone wrong, runs off into the river and is not seen for many, many years, but returns to stalk the summer camp as this horrifically burned antagonist. And The Burning, it's got a slow build-up, I feel, but there is kind of a lot of fun scenes of the summer camp itself. But when this one gets going, man, you've got some of the goriest and greatest kills on display here, with the garden shears, in particular the raft scene has to be one of the greatest moments in slasher film history. The look of Cropsey is awesome. There's a really good axe to the face effect at the end, which is just fantastic. The music in this one is really good. The whole atmosphere is fantastic. And it's a film now that it does seem to be a lot more popular. Certainly when I watched this when I was a lot younger, it was a hard film to get and not many people talked about it. But that seems to have changed over the years now, and this does seem to be a rather seminal slasher film. But I love it. I think it's a great movie, and like I say, why it never got a sequel is a mystery to me, but it's just fantastic. So in at number 1, the greatest standalone slasher movie is The Burning. So there we go guys, that is my top 5 best standalone slasher movies. Let me know what you think about this one. It's another video where I had to leave off a lot of really good movies. On another day they might have made the list. But let me know what you think, whether you enjoyed the list. If you disagree, let me know what your top 5 would be. Don't forget to check out Horrific Nightmares and The Horror Man, who this idea came from. Thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.